This is On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. A weekly recap of your Philadelphia Flyers from blue line to blue line. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Han & Stone Spa, Pat Dion Beverages, The Capitol Grill, Chickies and Pete's, Payroll Service Solutions, and Independence Blue Cross. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Now, here are your hosts, former Flyer Brad Marsh and Paul Jolovitz.
And welcome, everybody, to another season of On the Ice. We're here at Chickies and Pete's, where we'll be all season around Chickies and Pete's around the Delaware Valley on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Phillies obviously at 5, which is why we're at 4. Come on down to Chickies and Pete's, by the way, in Audubon, where we are now. Our manager, Keith, welcomes everybody, and stay for the Phillies game. Watch Flyers games all year. Great atmosphere, great food here. You can get one snow crab order free when you buy one every Tuesday and Wednesday for a limited time only. Tonight's Wednesday, so one snow crab order free when you get one. It's all here at Chickies and Pete's. It'll be terrific. Our guest tonight, John LeClair, run a little late. He'll be here about 4:15 or so. Our guest host tonight will be with us all year, one of two, Bernie Perrant the other. Mr. Brad Marsh, who's been a pleasure to work with for many years, the head of the Flyers alumni, the coach of the Warriors, an all-around good guy. Welcome to another season, Brad.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I must say the start of this season is a little more exciting than the start of last season.
Yeah, the start of last season felt like a death march, not literally, obviously, but the Flyers just refusing to rebuild, spackling holes in the wall, which all kinds of teams have tried all kinds of times. And I'm sure it's worked somewhere, sometime, but it doesn't usually work. And this year they got Danny Briere, Keith Jones, Dan Hilferty, a new coat of paint, Mitch Koff in Russia, Gauthier at Boston College. It just feels differently, like there's a goal. You work down there. What does it feel like to you?
Well, first of all, there's lots of new coats of paint down there. I mean, the renovation process continues. It started many years ago and was interrupted by COVID, obviously, but they did the event-level floor and the outside of the building, and the place looks beautiful. The new dressing room, I haven't been in it, but I hear it's fantastic. They just finished it over the weekend. But the enthusiasm or the excitement level, if you will, is unbelievable. Right from the players on the ice at training camp, but going into Wells Fargo Center every day to work, the employees in the office, whether they've been there 5 months, 5 years, 15 years, or whatever, everybody's very excited about the rebuild. Like that definition, that word wasn't in the vocabulary of the Philadelphia Flyers for a lot of years, and rightfully so. Mr. Snyder never wanted to rebuild; he wanted to win every year, but because of the past several years, it's time for us to rebuild, and we've got a lot of solid building blocks in place.
Our manager here, Keith, was asking me about it, and I told him that I was at practice yesterday, and there was a lot of jump to it with Torts and everybody else. You mentioned when I told you that everybody has that in practice, which is right. Everybody looks forward to a season. Everybody's 0-0. We start in Columbus tomorrow night. We saw Connor Bedard and the Vegas Golden Knights raise their banner last night. Brad, you played in this league for a long time. You're a realistic kind of guy, not an emotional kind of guy. And what's a realistic goal for Flyer fans this year? We're going to watch the orange and black. We're going to hope for a Stanley Cup. Barring a miracle, that's not going to happen. What's realistic?
Well, it's hard to say because we know so little about some of the players that are on the team this year, and they're young. We have some good veterans, but for the most part, we're young. And when you have a good mix of youngsters and some seasoned veterans, then you never know what can happen. And then, for the long-time Flyer fans, I go back to, 1984 was Bobby Clark just retired. He was a first-year GM. Mike Keenan, college coach, came in, first-year coach. We had 7 players under the age of 21. The Sutters and the Rick Tocchet, the Derek Smiths, the Peter Zezels, and so on and so on. And we had a number of veterans, myself, Brad McCrimmon, Tim McCurr, Davey Poulin. He wasn't really a veteran. He's about a 1 or 2 year veteran at that time. But we weren't picked to make the playoffs, and we won the President's Trophy, and we lost in the Stanley Cup Finals. Will this team do that? I'm not so sure, but we are going to surprise a lot of people.
All right, you talk about the new faces. You mentioned a few then. Now we have Igor Zamula. Nobody really knows him. He made the team last year.
I don't even know him. I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
Defenseman Bobby Brink made the team. Obviously, there's a bunch of them. Tyson Forrester. some holdovers. Obviously, Sean Couturier, who hasn't played in 664 games, will be back. Cam Atkinson, Cam York, the young defenseman, Carter Hart. Obviously, it's a good mixture of young and old. And how important is that the veterans guide the young kids along the way?
Well, it's very important, and I think, you mentioned Atkinson and Couturier. Those are two big pieces that we didn't have Coots for 2 years, and Cam at all last year. I think he played 10 games maybe. And those are two big pieces.
I don't think he played any games last year.
Well, I don't know.
Could have.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should be prepared. You're the host of this show. You should have had the stats, for heaven's sakes.
I think I do have the stats. I could be wrong.
Anyhow, two big pieces for the team this year. Not only on the ice, but in the dressing room as well. Those are two great guys, two great team guys, and so what they do in the dressing room is tremendous, and it's going to be cool. But you mentioned Bobby Brink, and according to reports and listening to sound bites, and he had a question mark whether he was going to make it or go back down to Lehigh. And what I like about that story is he came in and surprised everyone. I shouldn't say surprised everyone. He came in and he earned his spot.
Yeah.
Because he worked his butt off in during the summer, and he worked his butt off in training camp, and all of a sudden we can't send this guy down. He's too good.
Yep. Travis Sanheim, 15 pounds of muscle. We had some problems last year with the physicality. Everybody's worked on everything during the summer. Bobby Brink talked to him yesterday at camp, and he said Tortorella told him that. He said, you earned it. And talking to Tortorella yesterday, and you'll be someone great to answer this question, which is why I'm going to ask you now, Mr. Marsh. Tortorella said basically to the media yesterday that the coming together of this team in the dressing room with the young and the old, the leaders, blah, 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 was the best thing this team could have happen to them, other than on the ice. Obviously, you want to play well and win games. But he said coming together and bonding is super special. He doesn't usually talk like that. Why did he say that, and what's that like for a team?
Well, the team, and I personally think that hockey is the ultimate team sport, because you dress 20 players, and with the exception of the backup goalie, hopefully he doesn't play, because that means your starter stunk and you had to pull him. But there's 19 players that contribute in the success of the hockey game. Everyone plays a certain amount of minutes, and so everyone is pulling on the rope, if you will. And it takes a close-knit group to pull that off for 82 games. And yes, your superstar can score a couple goals, but over 82 games, you need all the guys playing together. And when you have a strong dressing room, some of those games that sometimes are going the other way, the teamwork, the team bonding, the team closeness pulls you through those tougher times.
Speaking of going the other way, a couple guys are gone from here as we start on this rebuild for the Orange and Black. Ivan Provorov out to Columbus. We'll see him tomorrow night. Tony DeAngelo gone. Every team has people come, people go in the offseason. We know about who came, but what about who went? What are the Flyers going to lose with those guys?
Well, you've heard me say on this show many times that Provorov would have been the first on my list to go years ago. He had an unbelievable rookie year and a real good sophomore year, but he hasn't been the same since. I don't know what happened to him, but he has not been the same. He gives the puck away like it's nobody's business, and I would have got rid of him years ago. So I'm not sorry to see him go. I didn't mind Tony. Made some mistakes in the defensive zone, but he was a good offensive player. But he had some trouble towards the end of the season, and Torts didn't want him around, and so he's the boss.
Before we get to the real bosses, Keith Jones, Dan Hilferty, obviously Danny Briere, there's a guy that everybody loves in the world of hockey. The few times I've met him, he's been a great guy. He's a caricature a little bit on ESPN, but he's not a caricature to anybody that knows him. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's, been with ESPN for 30 years, coached in the NHL, played in the NHL. He's known by the mullet and his crazy suits. But when you dig it down, he's like Don Cherry in America. He loves hockey. He loves the game. What's Barry Melrose mean to you, Brad, if you know him, and what's hockey going to miss by not having him on every night?
Well, I've never met Barry, but I played against him, obviously, and I've had some good friends that were teammates of him, and just a great guy. And he's been the face of hockey for how many years?
30-something.
30-something years, yep. And I read that yesterday just the same as you did, and it's a shame because he's done so much for the game in the United States, and so all the best to him and his family as they fight this crazy disease.
Yeah, Parkinson's obviously is no joke, and hopefully Barry can be good along the way with that. A lot of changes in the NHL. A lot of changes everywhere, but let's focus on the Flyers because this is on the ice, and we're talking about the ice here in Philadelphia. Before we go upstairs, well, we're going to go upstairs to start with. Broadcasting-wise, we're doing this show, but the TV and the radio guys for the Flyers saw Brian Boucher at practice yesterday. Obviously, Jonesy left the broadcast booth to become the president of the team. Brian Boucher, though, coming in to do the analysis. I remember I was driving with Brian Boucher, Brad, about 10, 12 years ago. He wasn't sure what he was going to do after hockey, and we were going to a job fair, a big job fair at Father Judge that I was speaking at, and Father Joe Campolone put together. Brian said, I'm not sure what I want to do now. Looks like he's landed squarely on his feet, and look forward to hearing him this year.
Yeah, Bush has worked hard at it. He retired. He started with, the between the benches and then between periods. And then I don't know if he did radio or not, but he dabbled in the TV, and then he got his foot in the door with the NHL network, then his foot in the door here. And so it's a great success story, and it's not unlike players' work or setting goals when they, in Brian's case, he came out of college and he had his goal set on the NHL, and he worked, he did this, he made the NHL, and was a pretty darn good goalie. Well, it's the same when you get a taste of the broadcast and you start setting goals, and it's great when it comes true. And Philadelphia Flyer hockey fans have been truly blessed with some great announcers. Billy Clement, and then Jonesy, and then Brian Boucher, and so the hockey world in Philadelphia has been very lucky with some good play-by-play guys too. But these guys were color announcers, and then you forgot Todd Fedoruk is
I was going to go to him next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So anyhow, Fridge is taken over from the one and only Mr. Steve Coates.
Yep.
And Fridge, it's funny, I tuned into Fridge's first game, the first exhibition game in New Jersey. I tuned in just on the radio just to see how he was doing, and he did better than the team that night. That was the game. It was like 4-0. It was 4-0 in the first 5 minutes, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, and Fridge is going to be in the radio booth. He's been a frequent guest of ours. Hopefully we can get him on a non-game night to come over here. We'll try to get everybody. We're going to be able to get some players this year. Talked to Scotty Lawton yesterday. Not sure when or where, but down the road he'll join us. And again, that coat of paint, Brad, is so much fun to apply to a team when they need so much new paint to get to where they want to go. But at the very top, I always say it drips from the top, no matter what you're talking about, whether it's an insurance company or Wawa or here at Chickies and Pete's with Pete. You know about his leadership, and you hear him on the radio all the time. Well, the Flyers now have a guy named Dan Hilferty, who, if you're not familiar with him, he was the head of Independence Blue Cross, a huge Flyer fan, not Mr. Snyder, nobody will be, but he loves hockey. He wants the orange and black to have a greater fan base. They were a little bit irrelevant in the Delaware Valley last year. He's pushing for the fans. The fans have attended camp. They feel a change with his team. Do you feel that change from the very top?
Yeah, Dan come in, I believe, last March, and right away there was a difference in the front office. And as I said earlier, everyone, whether you've been there for 5 months or 5 years or 10 years or whatever, everybody's excited to go to work again, and Dan's a big part of that culture that he created.
Why are they excited? What is it about when you get up? What is Dan Hilferty doing?
It's a new era. It's a new era of orange, and a good morning and a hello goes a long way when the boss goes around and talks to all the staff, all the employees, and asks what they're doing and understands what they're doing. It's just been a nice, fresh, nice breath of fresh air. There we go.
There we are.
And it's just wonderful. And so we've talked about Coach Tortorelli, changing the culture within the Flyers dressing room. Well, I think Dan has recognized that there was a little bit of a problem within the Flyers front office, and we've changed that culture in the front office. And now we have the business side of the Flyers operations going, and we have the hockey side of Flyers operations going, and it's just going to be a great franchise once again.
Well, to be honest, last year Chuck Fletcher, the GM, could have come into any of our Chickies and Pete's and seen Brian or Ellen or any of our fans that come every week to see us. Chuck Fletcher could have walked in the door and people would have looked at him and said, "Who are you?" I mean, maybe not literally, but kind of an anonymous GM, faceless, nameless to some people, no connection with the fans. And I think Dan saw that was very relevant. It's one thing if you're pumping out cup after cup, you can be whoever you want. But if you're not pumping up cup after cup, it's very important that the ties with the community, isn't it?
Well, the GM really doesn't control that. His job is on ice production.
But the GM now has a tie with the community.
Yeah, that's true, but that's more that comes from Dan, and the previous leadership of the Flyers did not provide that. And you need a face of the franchise, and Dan now is the face of the franchise, and he's got a lot of very good, strong, complementing pieces in Keith Jones and Danny Briere.
Yeah, Brad, I think if we were quizzed about this last year, saying, "Hey, the president of the team will not be here next year. Who will the new president be?" Keith Jones was not a person on anybody's list. The color analyst for TV, he done radio. Obviously, Jonesy played. I think it's a brilliant hire by Dan Hilferty in that he has wonderful connections with Flyer fans. He shoots it straight, tells it like it is. If you go to the games, you know that other players, other teams, other front offices, guys will go over to Jonesy and say, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" Jonesy has a way, Brad, about him. I don't know if you see him the same way, but he could walk into a chemical plant where he knows nothing about what's going on and figure out what you need to do and when you need to do it as quickly as anybody I've ever met. He's got a great gut for everything, and that's going to serve him well here, I think. Do you agree?
I believe so, and he's already done a great job, and so I look forward to many years under the new regime, as we refer to him. Pretty soon there'll be the old regime, but the old regime will be doing a hell of a job. But no, Jonesy's is the man for the job.
And he's President Jones on the business card, I guess. Technically, he's Jonesy to everybody. That'll serve him well. There's one other member of the front office that we got to talk about a little bit. His name is Danielle Briere. He's the new GM. We'll talk about him. John LeClair, our guest, will show up in the next few minutes. We'll have a great time. We're having a great time already here at Chickies and Pete's. We got all kinds of stuff. We got a player of the week. We got a stat of the week. Chris Ermer, our producer, Stephen Lawler back at the station. Push a couple buttons. We'll be back. Our first commercial break of the year. Back in a second with On the Ice. Stay with us, folks. Thank you.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chickie and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one-stop shop for all your shopping needs at Fairless Hills.
Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon is the true retreat from the everyday, with locations in Glen Mills, Springfield, and Center City. Joseph Anthony is a premier salon and spa destination that offers unique and luxurious services such as the soft pack float and hydrofacial. The Center City location, located on the 5th floor of the beautiful Lowe's Hotel, is now open and features an exclusive summer menu where you can indulge in the Joseph Anthony experience in the exquisite Turkish bath. Joseph Anthony's little black card is the perfect gift for all your loved ones' relaxation needs. Call or go online to josephanthony.com. That's josephanthony.com. A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Brad Marsh.
Great to be here at Chickies and Pete's in Audubon. We'll be in Drexel Hill next week with our special guest, Jim Watson. We'll introduce our guest this week in just a second. It's time now for the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. Each week we reward a Flyer with this honor. Nobody's played yet, so this week it's Sean Couturier. Back from multiple back surgeries, hadn't played in 664 games. Flyers will need Coots and Cates to forecheck. They'll be back and ready to play in the opener tomorrow in Columbus. Remember to choose Independence Blue Cross today and begin to live fearless. Our special guest tonight certainly lived fearless, multiple 50-goal scorer on the Legion of Doom line with Eric Lindros and Michael Renberg. Won a Stanley Cup. Also, people don't really know, won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers playing right guard. Would have been nice, but did win the Stanley Cup, and love to have you. Just great to have John LeClair here today. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Paul. Thanks for having me. You and Marcy, it's good to be here. Look forward to it.
Great to be here. Guys, both of you, we were talking to Johnny about the front office. We talked about Jonesy, talked about Dan Hilferty. Another important piece succeeded Chuck Fletcher, Danny Briere, who you didn't play with Danny, right?
No, I played against Danny a couple times, a couple years, but no, I didn't play with him.
All right, well, Danny Briere obviously played with the Flyers, came here in 2007, is now behind the desk, made a couple deals, drafted Mitchkoff, has a clear plan in place, a real thinker, a guy who plans, a guy who I think is a very sharp guy, will do a real good job. Brad, why don't you go first? What is Danny LeClair going to mean to the Orange and Black?
Who?
I mean Danny LeClair. Danny Briere. LeClair, Briere, they rhyme.
Did Danny already make a trade?
Preseason for me, too.
Two French names. He gets confused.
Yeah.
There we go. Anyway, Danny Briere.
You know, first and foremost, it's somebody that Flyers fans can identify with because he's done so much for the Flyers in his playing days and scored some big goals. And but he brings respect, to the general manager's position, and I just think he's one of the reasons, along with everybody else that has been added to in the hockey side of things, that is giving people some hope and giving people some excitement and some enthusiasm to look forward to the hockey season because of who he is.
John, we have all kinds of general managers who have not played, Lou Lamoriello and the like, guys that have, and Steve Yzerman. Does it matter at the general manager level if a guy played or not to the guys down on the ice? Or do you just have to do a good job, put good talent on the ice, let the coach him? Is there an edge at all to having played for Danny?
I think there can be an edge, but I don't think it's mandatory. As you can go through the list, there's plenty of great GMs that never played. I think it adds a little bit, though, when Danny's talking to guys as far as, what maybe sending down, what we're doing, bringing up guys and things like that. I'm sure it definitely helps as far as being a former player, how you approach things and how you can talk to these guys and relate to them. But Danny's qualities are, one is he was a player. That's definitely a quality that is going to be a bonus for him. But he's got a lot of other qualities that are going to make him a great GM. and I think it's starting to show a little bit right now. The little bit I've been around watching him in that role, he's got a real good temperament for it, and I think he's a smart guy, and he's got a plan, and he knows how he wants to go about it.
Talk about the little bit you've been around. You're kind of back in the Flyer family now after years living in the area and being on the periphery, but tell everybody, if you could now, what your role is and what you'll be doing for the Orange and Black.
So back when Keith Jones and Danny took over in July, I was brought on as a special advisor to hockey ops. So I work with mostly kind of, me and Patrick Sharp were brought in the same position. And we're working a lot with the player development side right now. We've been dealing a lot with our prospects we've had, dealing a lot with the AHL, who's in the farm system coming through, evaluating those guys. And, we get some good young talent. Ultimately, the Flyers need more talent if we're going to get better and win a Stanley Cup, and that's what we're here to do.
Johnny, we were talking before about Jonesy and Dan Hilferty. If I had said to you 5 years ago that in 5 years Keith Jones would be the president of the Philadelphia Flyers, after you stopped choking, what would you have said to me?
Well, honestly, nothing surprises me with Jonesy, so that's the thing. I would probably laugh, being like, probably not, but, anything's possible with that guy. But the more you think about it, I think Jonesy was actually the perfect choice. He's incredibly knowledgeable of the game of hockey. He knows all the guys that are in it. He knows all the general managers and all the other presidents just from his days of being who he is in the broadcast side of things. And Jonesy's a smart hockey guy. He's always been a smart hockey guy. Even as a teammate, you knew he was one of those guys that really got all the finer details of hockey. And he's good at the details. He speaks well. I think it's a perfect position for him.
He's crazy like a fox, too, because he wants you to think he's an idiot. He's the farthest thing from an idiot in this world. As I said to Brad, and you know that his opinion is valued by a whole lot of people in hockey. And while he has that self-deprecating personality, don't let it fool you for a second.
Absolutely. I mean, he comes across, it's like, maybe he doesn't know everything, but he knows a lot more than everybody else in the room half the time. So that's just his personality. And anybody that knows Jonesy knows that he's a really bright guy.
Yep.
One thing, too, is we have our alumni fantasy camp. As you know, our alumni is pretty active. We have our fantasy camp, and I think we're going to have to start taking resumes next year because Jonesy was a coach at our fantasy camp, and he became president. Danny Briere was a coach at the fantasy camp. He became general manager. Lappy's head coach in Lehigh. Johnny's is a coach at the fantasy camp and special advisor now. Mark Recchi was a coach this year at the fantasy camp. Now he's with Columbus.
Luke Richardson?
Yeah.
No, he didn't come to our fantasy camp. So
coach
these guys
of
all came to our fantasy camp, and now they have NHL positions. So everyone's going to be looking at the fantasy camp as a springboard to an NHL career.
You mean to coach
is Joe Watson looking for a job for coaching?
Oh, man, I don't know if the world's ready for that. Fred Shiro drills.
You need me at all? I can coach the side.
No, we wouldn't accept your resume.
All right. I don't think it's – listen, Johnny, penalty minutes, missed easy shots, none for me. I mean, you look at the glass half full or half empty. I look at it half full. You may look at it half empty. I guess that's the way it is, huh?
Next question.
Can't even talk. Yeah, he's speechless. Guys, Flyers never really delved into Russia very much. Obviously, that's a country with a lot of problems. We'll talk about hockey, though. Danny this year drafted Michkov 7th, Matvei Michkov 7th. A lot of people think he's the best player in the draft. A la Jalen Carter, he was pushed down by several factors. People thinking maybe it won't come right away. Maybe it'll be 3 years. My gut is it's not going to be 3 years because money talks. But, Johnny, either one of you can answer this. Michkov, Gauthier, last year's first-round pick. You say talent. Well, the Flyers got some talent coming. What do you think of these two kids, Brad? Johnny, whoever.
Go ahead, John. I've never seen Michkov play. I've heard great things about him.
Yeah, they're both tremendous talents. I actually saw Cutter play last weekend. He's a pro type player. He's going to be he got potential to be a real star in this league.
What school is he at again?
He's at BC.
Yeah. BC.
And with Michkov, he's playing against pros right now at 18, and he looks like he's not just fits in, but he is a player that people got to pay attention to on the ice. In that draft room, he was, 1A right behind Bedard. And part of that was just because not many people saw as many looks on him as they did as Bedard. So You saw what Bedard did last night in his season premiere. Mitchkov could very well be that same player, and he's going to be well worth the wait for Flyer fans.
Well, for the NHL to take a look at, the NHL started last night. Flyers don't get going till tomorrow night, but Connor Bedard came in. You would think a new president was elected the way, and they're on the road for the first 5 games, but Connor Bedard, 5'10", 185 pounds, pretty unassuming physically, but on the ice, his numbers are generational, I guess. He's being compared to Connor McDavid, which, in my personal opinion, you don't compare anybody to anybody until they do something. But what did you see out of Connor Bedard last night, Brad?
Well, go back to the NHL draft when he was selected. I think when they won the lottery, they sold $6-7 million worth of tickets overnight.
In an hour, yeah.
Yeah, so he's already he's already made an impact in Chicago. But I watched the game last night, and it always amazes me when you see a young kid and he has not so much the control, but the vision on the ice. Like, he has the puck, his head's always up. My head was glued down at that puck so I wouldn't lose it, for heaven's sakes. But he looked like a veteran out there last night. So
yeah, I mean, he has that maturity already in him, and confidence is a big thing when you're playing. And as a rookie, confidence is everything, and he's got that. It's well earned. I mean, he's dominated at every level. It's going to be a different year for him for sure, but he looked comfortable out there last night.
And he's got a real good coach, Luke Richardson, in Chicago. I know Luke very well, and he's going to help Connor off the ice tremendously.
All right, we got to take a quick break, but real quick, goal total for this year. I predicted for Connor Bedard. I know I'm probably a little bit high, but I think this kid's special. I predicted 45. Brad, what do you think?
I'll go 37.
37? Mr. 50-goal scorer?
I think it's going to be a little tougher for him. I think if he gets over 30, it's a great year for him.
All right. John LeClair kind of tempering the enthusiasm, which is what you got to do. We'll talk about John LeClair's career, Brad Marsh, the Flyers, much, much more from Chickies and Pete's and Audubon. Take a quick break, come back with you. They're great here. Remember to come here to watch Flyers games this year, Phillies games. Obviously, the Phillies on right after this. We wish them the best of luck. Back with on the ice right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chickie and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Learn more about your coverage options at ibx.com.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one-stop shop for all your shopping needs at Fairless Hills.
Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon is the true retreat from the everyday, with locations in Glen Mills, Springfield, and Center City. Joseph Anthony is a premier salon and spa destination that offers unique and luxurious services such as the soft pack float and hydrofacial. The Center City location, located on the 5th floor of the beautiful Lowe's Hotel, is now open and features an exclusive summer menu where you can indulge in the Joseph Anthony experience in the exquisite Turkish bath. Joseph Anthony's little black card is the perfect gift for all your loved ones' relaxation needs. Call or go online to josephanthony.com. That's josephanthony.com. A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Brad Marsh.
Having a great time here, waiting for the Phillies game at beautiful Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, getting ready for the Flyers season on a gorgeous Wednesday. It's now time for the Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Again, we haven't played it yet, so this week it's not a stat. But simple good luck wishes to the new orange and black powers that be in Dan Hilferty, Keith Jones, and Danny Briere as they start their Flyer journey together. Salute, guys. Hope to accomplish some great things down the road. That was your Flyer Smart Stat of the Week. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions, catering to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again, Danny and everybody, 1-866-PAY-EASY. We were talking during the break, Johnny and Brad, about playoffs and regular season. There's so many examples of this. We have a guy watching the show tonight out in the audience with a Bruins tattoo, a Bruins fan. Bruins 11,000 points last year, won the President's Trophy, lost in the first round. Clayton Kershaw, you saw what happened to him the other night in baseball. Connor McDavid, Johnny, Brad was talking about his lack of accomplishment in the playoffs, his team's lack of accomplishment in the playoffs. There's players, there's teams. Certain guys have it, certain guys don't. Johnny, you had the playoff gene. Brad, you seem to have the playoff gene. Your teams went far. Guys like Austin Matthews, people are waiting to see what he can do in the playoffs. Talk about that whole thing, Johnny, in playoffs and regular season, put it in the blender, and what comes out for you.
You know, I got kind of mixed feelings on this a little bit because, like, some people put too much pressure on, like, oh, you got to win a championship. There's guys that show up in the playoffs every year, and their team, it's a team sport, and that's what it amounts to. And I'm not yet ready to throw Connor McDavid into that pool yet. I think he comes to play every night. I don't think his teams have been strong enough to get him over the hump.
Goaltending.
I think that's a big issue.
Holy moly.
And I don't think it's a lack of effort or a lack of him performing on his part.
And Draisaitl is a great player in the postseason also.
Exactly.
But
so
they're a one-line team.
Yeah. So I think that's more of a team issue than, you know, you look at a guy like Claude Lemieux, never played well not even play well, but it was just an average kind of regular season player. And then he got into the playoffs and he was phenomenal. You know, he was a different player. There's definitely guys like that they raise their game up, and, you know, when the big lights are on, they shine. Brad,
you see it the same way you played in a couple Stanley Cup finals? I mean, are the playoff and regular season players, are they different?
Oh, there's a lot, as Johnny just said, there's lots of players that step up, and quite often in the playoffs is you know, it's the guys that you don't regularly, well, Claude Lemieux, you said, like, they're good, they're steady, but something happens, something turns on them in the playoffs, and they're just that guy, that go-to guy. And every sport has them, and it's great to see when a player rises to the occasion.
Sure is, and I mean, obviously, anytime two teams or two people step onto a playing field, ice surface, whatever it is in sports, you got a chance. If somebody said to me, Jolly, you got an even money bet this year, will the Flyers make the playoffs? I definitely would bet no, but I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility. Johnny, what do the Flyers have to do to change expectations, change the scenario, and make the playoffs this year? Is that possible?
I think it's absolutely possible. I mean, there's a lot of parity in this league, and just from watching the group for the last month, there's a lot of promise there. There is a lot of promise, and I think, if things, can go their way, as far as injuries and, the young guys making the progression as they need to throughout the year, absolutely could sneak in the playoffs.
Oh, well, tell me, for the fans out there listening, either one of you guys or both, for me, it's Owen Tippett, a guy that was traded for, scored 27 goals last year. Is that power forward, John LeClair mold. Tell me a Flyer that in April were saying, boy, we didn't realize that so-and-so was quite so good at the beginning of the year. Look at the year he's had, and better things are to come. Does anybody come to mind for you, Johnny, and you, Brad?
For me, there's a lot of guys that are going to probably step up. I think Sanheim's on track to have even a better year than you've seen in a long time. He looks really dominant out there. He's going to be controlling that D-core, I think, for us in a big way. And back there on D, the Zamula kids look really good in camp. It'd be nice if he can shine and keep progressing and moving along the way he has. And we want to get some of the younger kids too, like the Emile Andre. He's had a nice camp. He's starting with the team. It'd be nice if he can keep, continue his path. Up front, Frost has looked good. Came back. He's a lot of energy.
New contract.
Yep. Him and Farabee, if they can take the next step and get into things. And then, it'd be nice to get some of these young guys that hook on. Tyson Forrester is just waiting to break out. Bobby Brink had a great camp. He's on the roster right now. These guys have some opportunity. Hopefully they can grab it and take a hold of it.
I mentioned earlier the 1984 team, like when it was Bobby Clark's first year as a GM, Mike Keenan's first year, and we had 7 guys under the age of 21. But that year, too, is we had a lot of guys had career years. You mentioned Sanheim. I hope he put on all that muscle that he's going to have a career year. But that first year with Keenan, like I had my bet, it was a breakout year for me. It was my 7th year in the league, I think. But it was a breakout year with Keenan, and Timmy Kerr had a breakout year, another 50-goal season. And Howie, he'd been with the Flyers for 2 years, I think, from Hartford. And I didn't realize this, but in talking to Howie, he played forward in Hartford. He came to Philadelphia and played defense. And
that's how score in the WHA all time.
That's how good he is. Yeah. And then he was just getting better. Like, who the hell ever had a good year in Hartford, for heaven's sakes? Like, it was
Ron
such
Francis, a couple of them.
Well, I realize that, but it was such a nothing franchise. They played in a mall, and it was like everything was perfect for Howie to come, and he just kept getting better and better. So Johnny mentioned, some guys having a breakout year. I really think that this team is ready for Carter Hart. Same thing. As good as he is, I think he's going to have an even better year.
Well,
and that bodes well for success.
Pop open the can and tell us the secret, guys, because both of you guys, Brad, you mentioned you were 7th year in the league. Keenan came in, and whatever it was to unlock in you, he unlocked it. Johnny, I had many people, when I covered the Flyers, said, well, we got this kid, John LeClair from Montreal. He's a good player, but, geez, I didn't realize he was this kind of player. Obviously, it happened for you here in Philadelphia. Was it coincidence? Was it karma? Was it providence? What was it?
Everybody's got their own situation. For me, it was just an opportunity to play in an offensive role, and I was able to, and I was able to grab it. And I was given an opportunity, I was able to grab it. And then obviously playing with Michael and Eric, I progressed and got better and better as I moved along, and things happened for me.
And then that certainly had along the way. Do you still see Eric or Michael these days? Obviously, they're back at times here, but live all over the place. You see your former teammates, either one of you guys? Obviously, Brad runs the alumni, so you're in touch with them, but
I see a lot of teammates. As far as Michael and Eric, I talked to Eric quite a bit. I talked to him actually the other day. I'm going to see him in November. I'm going up to see him. Rennie, not so much. We talk to Rennie maybe once every 3 to 6 months. When something going on, we'll chat, and then
Didn't
we'll
his
talk.
daughter just graduate law school?
Yeah, I think so.
It's amazing.
Yeah, she was supposed to graduate probably this year. Yep.
All right. Brad, before we take a break, John LeClair. We're all having problems with the names tonight. We got Conor McGregor, Danny LeClair. John Tortorella has said his philosophy is to build a team from the blue line out, from Carter Hart through the defense, through the forwards, stop the puck before you worry about scoring the puck. Do you like that philosophy? Obviously, you were a stay-at-home defenseman. To me, it makes a lot of sense. Good defensive teams rarely get blown out. Obviously, any game, anything can happen. But what do you think of the D-first philosophy that these guys seem to have?
Well, I think it's the right philosophy. I think you look at the teams that have been successful over the last number of years. They're strong in the net, but they're real strong on the blue line as well. So, but I think what Coach was saying was not so much as D is going to control everything. It's defense out. That's including the forwards, all 5 guys playing a good defensive system and then moving forward together.
All right, we'll talk about that when we come back, because the Flyers have a Selke Trophy winner who's coming back tomorrow, a kid that a lot of people think could be in contention for that down the road. We'll talk about defense from the forward position, and the Warriors. Steph Curry? Nope. We'll tell you what we mean. If you're a fan of the show, fan of the Flyers, you know what they are already. We'll come back. Final segment on the ice from Chickies and Pete's in Audubon. Great place, great food. Keith, the manager, getting us ready for the Phillies right after this. Stay with us, folks.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chickie and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
Head out to Dion Square, located at South Oxford Valley and South Olds Boulevard, with the following businesses ready to serve you: Pat Dion Beverages, CVS Pharmacy, Smile Culture Dental, Biomat, Liberty Auto Tags, Pennsylvania Fine Wine and Spirits, Lee's Hoagie House, AutoZone, and First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. Make Dion Square your one-stop shop for all your shopping needs at Fairless Hills.
Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa and Salon is the true retreat from the everyday, with locations in Glen Mills, Springfield, and Center City. Joseph Anthony is a premier salon and spa destination that offers unique and luxurious services such as the soft pack float and hydrofacial. The Center City location, located on the 5th floor of the beautiful Lowe's Hotel, is now open and features an exclusive summer menu where you can indulge in the Joseph Anthony experience in the exquisite Turkish bath. Joseph Anthony's little black card is the perfect gift for all your loved ones' relaxation needs. Call or go online to josephanthony.com. That's josephanthony.com. A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer Brad Marsh.
Alrighty, back here at Chickies and Audubon. Final segment, our first On the Ice, having a great time. John LeClair, our guest. Johnny, I got to ask you a blunt question. Listen, you're a great guy. You're unassuming, 50-goal scorer multiple times. Should be in the Hall of Fame, Flyer Hall of Fame, obviously. You have an ego like everybody else. So somebody brought in a John LeClair cutout.
Yes.
That's got to be cool when somebody brings in a cutout of you looking 20 years younger. But what's that like?
I don't know if it's cool seeing me 20 years younger, but there's only one person that would bring that. That's Melanie, who comes to everything that I do. I haven't done a signing or appearance without her being there. So I happen to know the lady that brought it, which is nice. But, people collect different things. The cardboard cutout's not something I collect, but everybody's got different collectibles.
Well, fans are what make the team, and thank you to all the fans, the Flyer fans, people that come out to this show. They're a big part of this team and the Flyer connection with them this year. Let's hope stay strong and get stronger. We're talking about the forwards and Brad's assessment, the defensemen out as a way to build a team. Flyers have one great defensive forward and one kid who looks like he's heading that direction, Cates and Coots. Noah Cates and Sean Couturier. Brad talked about the defense of the forwards. How important is that, and how big a part of your game was that when you played?
For the forwards to play defense, it's incredibly important. I mean, defense is not two guys. It's a five-man unit that plays defense, and, forwards got to be responsible. Obviously there's certain forwards that their abilities are better served in different areas, but they still got to be able to play every end of the area of the rink.
And you were known, obviously, for your offense, but how much personal pride did you put in shutting down an opponent defensively?
I won the plus-minus award 2 years, so I took a lot of pride in that. I was a big looking at the plus-minus every night. That was kind of the first stat that I wanted to see. You would be surprised the amount of guys that take a lot of pride in their plus-minus.
Very few bad players have big plus-minuses, Brad, obviously.
Yeah, and one of the neat things to see is the last minute of the game. And you said a lot of players take pride in their plus players, but when you see a player get the tap on the shoulder to go out and protect the lead, I mean, I never got the tap to go out and score a goal to tie the game up, but my job was to stop him. But when you see a player gets the tap and the face-offs in your zone, and you got a responsibility of locking that guy that you're lining up beside, players eat that up, and those are the type of players you want to have on your team, is the players that really take pride in that defensive responsibility.
I got a tap on the shoulder last night to take the laundry downstairs. Would that count? All right, you talked about taps on the shoulder. Where our guest tonight, Mr. LeClair, got a tap to be in the Flyer Hall of Fame. Others have. Brad is head of the Flyers alumni. You got a big Hall of Fame night, a game coming up, and a weekend with it. Tell us everybody about that, Brad.
Well, it's going to be January 26th and 27th, the Hall of Fame weekend. On the Saturday, we're inducting Mark Recchi into the Flyers Hall of Fame. And then on the Friday night, the Flyers alumni are playing the Boston Bruins alumni at the Wells Fargo Center. But the whole thing that's built around this Hall of Fame weekend is we're also celebrating the Stanley Cup teams of 74 and 75.
Wow.
So all the players will be back in Philadelphia for the celebration. We got a reception on the Thursday night. Friday night, of course, is the game. And what's really neat is we're playing the Bruin alumni on Friday and the NHL Bruins on Saturday. And we beat them 50 years ago for the first Stanley Cup. And so there'll be lots of Bruins there, all the Stanley Cup guys, all the Hall of Fame guys, and, of course, the guys playing in the game. And we got a pretty good lineup so far.
You have anybody that was a Bruin and a Flyer that has to decide who do I play for?
Well, Mark Recchi.
Yeah, other than, obviously it's got to be a Flyer. Yep. Going to the Flyer Hall of Fame. Bernie played for the Bruins.
Joe Watson. Joe Watson, 80 years old, is going to play in the alumni game. He started his career with the Bruins. And so it's going to be a great weekend. And and with Mark Recchi going into the Hall of Fame, a well-deserved. I tell you what, though, we all did a big swallow. You know, we had it all set up the weekends. Oh, he's coming in with the family, and so then he takes the job in Columbus. And so I gave him a call. Congratulations, but he's got it. He had it all clear, so he's here for. He's going to play in the game Friday night and be here, obviously, for this.
Any
Saturday
information for fans as to how to get tickets or how to
just
do
go
whatever?
on the Flyers website,
Okay.
and the tickets are all there. So it's going to be a great weekend.
All right, something you're doing before that weekend is coaching the Warriors, the team you coach, ex-military. It's a great thing. It's a great cause. They've sprouted up all across the country now. First show of the year. A lot of people may not know. A lot of people may need to be filled in, but fill us in on the Warriors.
Well, actually, we just got back from Denver this last weekend, which was the Warrior Classic, which is the national championships for all the Warrior teams in the U.S., and we took 4 teams out there, and our Tier 3 team won the national championship.
That's
so
great.
Another championship belt for the Warriors, for the Flyers Warriors, so it was good. And we had our Tier 4 team is this group of guys. They're just learning how to play. We got him laughing. We got one guy, he just joined the team. He's never played before. He's about 6'7", and you know, you teach him the game, and so he's learning how to stride, but he can't stop. And okay, you got a forecheck. Well, he was forechecking, and he's yelling at the defenseman on the other team, "Get out of the way! I can't stop." It was great, but what a great guy! What a great group of guys that we've got, and we had a lot of fun there. Myself and Rob Bear. We have a great time coaching and blowing the whistle for him.
It's a great cause and a great thing. To conclude the show, we only got a minute left. Keith Jones, the president of the hockey team. I'm going to ask President LeClair for a second. He's with the Flyers now, back after a great career, back with the team, fresh coat of paint. Tell the fans here at Chickies and Pete's and Audubon, the ones listening and watching, what to expect from the Flyers this year. 30 seconds, Johnny, a sales pitch as to what the Flyers are going to do and how the fans can be a part of it.
I think the fans are going to see a lot more of that excitement that they've been wanting to see for the last 5-6 years. You know, the goal is we're going to get the Flyers hockey back to the way it was, the way that everybody in the organization was proud of. And I think we're off to a great start. And people are going to be really surprised with the Flyers' success this year, I think. I really do believe that.
Well, hopefully it'll be great. Tomorrow night in Columbus, the home opener. Next Tuesday, the 17th. We're looking forward to it. It's been a blast having you as a guest on our first show. We shoot for the top. We got it. And best of luck with the Flyers down the road, Johnny, and everything, all your endeavors, and good health. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks very, very, very much. Brad, thanks for being here. Look forward to being with you the entire year.
Thank you, sir.
Go Flyers in Columbus. This will be a weekly show. We'll have Jim Watson at Chickies and Pete's in Drexel Hill next week. Chris Summer, great job producing this fine show. Stephen Lawler, great job back at the station. To everybody listening, watching, thank you so much. Go Phillies, and Philadelphia's a football, basketball, baseball, hockey town now. Basketball, did I say basketball? Maybe I didn't mean that, but we got hockey coming on. But we'll have a good time. This has been Paul Jolovitz for Brad Marsh and John LeClair for On the Ice. Have a great week, everybody. Go Flyers.
You've been listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 WBCB and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.